girl Lorelei has about as deep an appreciation of the glories of Paris as anyone. As she says, when a girl walks around and reads all of the signs with all of the famous historical names, it really makes you hold your breath. Paris is divine. I mean, it really is divine. But Lorelei's keen sense of the advantages of foreign travel never lets her lose sight of the fact that kissing your hand may make you feel very, very good, but a diamond and a sapphire bracelet last forever. And the most exclusive Parisian jewelers and couturiers are kind enough to make the trip as educational and as rewarding as possible for Lorelei and her friends. We have found our paradise of love, or as another philosopher of the day put it, life is short and full of sadness, sighed the dizzy little ant. Life is long and full of gladness, cried the jolly elephant. And off they charged, the dizzy little ants and the jolly elephants, to take in as much Parisian nightlife as they can hold. Who said Americans are not interested in foreign affairs? Main Street was never like this. There's Josephine Baker. But there is more than one Paris. There are many. While the average American takes a holiday from thinking, others in flight from the society of Messrs. Babbitt and Capone think harder than ever before and leave. As an artist, a man has no home but Paris. In Paris, Scott Fitzgerald, who spun the first great tales of the Jazz Age, writes of the pro-youth, pro-freedom, anti-Puritanism revolt, of flappers and bootleggers, of all the sad young men. You are all a lost generation, says Gertrude Stein of the young American expatriates, but Paris helps many find themselves. Hemingway's sun also rises. In Paris, Glenway Westcott, realism and hypocrisy, Americans in all the arts find peace of sorts in the unhurried, unstandardized, unmechanized city on the Seine. The intellectuals, the Lorelei Lees, average Americans abroad, never really take their eyes off the good old USA. May 1927, the eyes of the French, the eyes of the world, also turn to America. Charles Augustus Lindbergh will attempt what no man has ever dared. He will attempt to fly the Atlantic non-stop, New York to Paris, alone, all alone. Lindbergh and other pilots, some of them famous, are after a $25,000 prize offered by a hotel owner. But it is the young unknown stunt flyer, wing walker, male pilot who moves first. The man, a monoplane he calls the Spirit of St. Louis, the partnership Lindy calls We. With 4 sandwiches and 3 letters of introduction, we, alone, take off from soggy Roosevelt Field on this dismal morning, May 20th. The time, 7:52 a.m. The goal, Paris. But Paris is 3,610 miles away. Throughout the world, there is only one story, Lindbergh. One single emotion sweeps the United States. 120 million people merge their hopes, their prayers, their aspirations with a lone boy challenging hostile, limitless space. Now the ordeal begins. The Lone Eagle, flying the great circle course over Nova Scotia across Newfoundland, heads out into the uncharted void above open seas, where none before has ventured alone and lived. And hour by hour, the world below waits and waits and waits. Storms and worse, sleet. We have no heat, no radio, no lights, few instruments. Turn back, turn back. Should we turn back? The weather behind is as bad as the weather in front. Lindbergh goes on. Sometimes we fly at 10,000 feet. Sometimes it is only 10, judging wind and drift from foam blown by the whitecaps. Hour after hour after hour. There is only one story, Lindbergh. The French, remembering their own flyers, Nungesser and Collie, lost over the Atlantic only a few days ago, fear for Lindbergh. All alone, he has no chance. And soon he sees land, Ireland. The Spirit of St. Louis is on course. In Paris, there has been no word since Lindbergh was sighted off the Irish coast, hours ago. Perhaps the report was false. Why isn't he here? Outside Paris at Le Bourget airfield, 100,000 Frenchmen. A chill wind is blowing. Then, exactly 10:16 p.m., a sound out of the darkness of night, the throb of a single engine. Cette fois, ça va. This time, it is done. Lindbergh in Paris. After 33 and a half hours of flying, an emotional explosion. He becomes the hero of the world. Europeans want him for their own. But President Coolidge sends the cruiser Memphis to bring Lindbergh home to Washington to be decorated, honored, and hailed as conqueror of the air, idol of the nation. It will be many and many a day before the Lone Eagle is alone again. Washington is in the dither, but in New York, well, in New York there is pandemonium as Lindbergh flies into the harbor on this 13th day of June, 1927. After Appomattox, Dewey after Manila Bay, the troops after World War I, Lindbergh home from Paris surpasses them all. As usual, Will Rogers sums it up. The great thing Lindbergh demonstrates is that a person can still get the entire front page without murdering anybody. America turns in relief and thanksgiving from crime and cynicism and scandal to gallantry and courage and adoration of a 25-year-old boy who personifies both. This is an age of idols and ballyhoo, and the world of sports supplies plenty of both. There is a made-to-order idol for every pocketbook. Pick your winner and win with him. And there are some great winners, Jack Dempsey and Gene Tunney, with the long count and their $2 million gate. Sports are big business, and everybody's business. Name your stadium, it'll be filled. Tilden will fill it. So will Man of War. So will the Sultan of Swat, the Galloping Ghost, and the Fourth Horseman. Gertrude Ederle will draw the crowds as soon as she gets ashore, and Bobby Jones need never worry. Give us this day our daily circus at Harvard, Yale, or Princeton, at Yankee Stadium, Soldiers Field, or the Polo Grounds, at Notre Dame or Illinois, at the Indianapolis Speedway or Churchill Downs, at Army or Navy, at any old place. Rah, rah, rah! Come on, babe, hit one for me. 28, Kansas City. The Republicans nominate Curtis for vice president, Hoover for president. The platform, more prosperity. For the Democrats, it's Houston, Texas, and Alfred Emanuel Smith, the happy warrior. 4 successful terms as governor of New York, a pledge to modify prohibition and a brown derby. That's what takes Al Smith east side, west side, all around the land. But times were never better. Don't rock the prosperity boat. The Republicans predict the day of 2 chickens in every pot, 2 cars in every garage, and the abolition of poverty everywhere in America. Under the circumstances, who but Hoover? Herbert Clark Hoover, engineer, humanitarian, twice Secretary of Commerce, sweeps to victory to become the 31st President of the United States. To the bulls operating on the stock exchange, the elections mean 4 more years of prosperity. Americans have become fearless speculators, living in a make-believe world, getting rich quick without working. As Mr. Coolidge turns over the reins of government to Mr. Hoover, he announces that things are absolutely sound and stocks are cheap at current prices. Don't sell America short. Why, man, we've scarcely started. From Boston to San Francisco, the bull market is the national mania, the biggest news of the day, every day, coast to coast. And what quotation? Steel up, utilities up, motors up, radio way up, everything up, up, up. What difference does it make if you buy a railroad stock such as Seaboard Airline and think it is an aviation corporation, as long as it goes up? Buy on margin. Brokers' loans are available. All you have to do is have 5 cents for a telephone call, and you can even get that on credit. Just buy. Buy on margin. Everyone is doing it, and everybody is getting rich. Why not? Everything is going one way, and one way only. Up, 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 and up. Production, sales, bank deposits, brokers' loans, stocks, especially brokers' loans and stocks, up. Even the Illuminati dropped Freud in favor of electric bond and share. Let's do it. Let's do it. Birds do it, bees do it, even educated fleas do it. The bulls are loose and pawing the ground. 4 million shares a day, 5 million, 6, 7. That's nothing. Nothing can arrest the upward movement, say the oracles. And the Secretary of the Treasury has predicted the high tide of prosperity will continue. What more do you want? 300 million shares are being carried on margin. Brokers' loans are at an all-time high. But don't worry. The values must be there somewhere. The market is not only discounting the future, it's discounting the hereafter. Everything's the flea's eyebrows, the snake's hips, and I don't mean maybe. Americans are rolling in the stuff. It's only money. There's cream in every cup of coffee, plenty of salt in every stew, and never have so many had so much of both. But they're habit forming. You will always be my necessity. I'd be lost without you. Boom on Wall Street, bonanza on Park Avenue, binge on Broadway. Another season, another reason for making whoopee. And the stars are there to help, the stars of the time. The models for Main Street, stars of the silver screen and upcoming radio, the stage, the legit and the not so legit. Rudolph Valentino is gone, but Rudy Valley is here. So is Clara Bow and George M. Cohan, Marilyn Miller and Cab Calloway, Texas Guinan, and, if I may say so, Fred Allen. It's getting late. Let's go. The sax, the beat of the drum, new notes, rising notes, and the screech of the times comes from a speakeasy queen. Hello, sucker! September 1929, soaring out into the wild blue yonder, stocks hit what looks like a permanently high plateau. Now here's a tip. Some of these prices will look ridiculously low in a year or two. New York swelters in a severe heat wave, but that doesn't stop anybody. Sure, there are technical readjustments once in a while, as the lunatic fringe of margin speculators is being shaken out, but conditions are fundamentally sound, aren't they? October, Indian summer, 1929. The day has come. Not so gradually, not so slowly. The market goes up a little, then it goes down a lot. In the decade of bad taste, in the revolution of manners and morals, the bears finally jumped the bulls. It's over. All over. Over here. Here in Wall Street. The oracles still sound off. A technical readjustment. And the market rallies. Stocks always go up, don't they? Down go the common stocks. Down, down, down they go. Tuesday, October 29th, 1929, in history's worst panic, over 16 million shares are dumped on the market. Over $14 billion go with them, and so goes the confidence of a nation. Wall Street lays an egg, and so do the 20s. The greatest gaudiest spree in history is over. The people have had one too many. Margin, more margin, there isn't any more margin. Hallelujah. The jazz age is over, all over.